my goodness. How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to the Open Podcast. I'm Hunter Boris.
And I'm Forrest Bop. Oh, my gosh. How are you doing today?
We have an incredible guest for you here. It's the legendary Mr. Sam Sloman. Give it up for him, everybody.
Hey.
Give it up for him. Oh, my goodness. This gentleman right here, he went to the Miami of Ohio University.
Damn right.
He is a kicking prodigy, some would say. He spent some time in the league, and we're going to have a great time talking to him today.
Hey, well, thank you, fellas, for having me on. It's an honor and a pleasure.
God, you look good. You know that?
Dude, just doing my part.
Yeah, you're doing your part?
You
Come
do
on.
look good.
You
I
look
appreciate
good.
it. I know.
I'd buy some insurance from you right now.
Right
I
now.
don't know if you would. I don't know.
Hey, I'll buy a charger from you for 75% APR right now. I swear to God, I
we can
would.
do that. We can do that.
Oh my God! So here, you've had a lot of great things happen in your career, right? You got recruited in college. You went to the NFL. Let's talk about the most important stuff. Biggest cock you ever saw in the locker room.
Well,
We need to know.
I'll start with this. He didn't look like any of us, if you're catching my gist.
Okay.
Definitely
Asian.
not white.
Okay.
Definitely not
Yeah.
Asian. Defensive player. And it's
Of
one of those
course.
things. It's
What
an
position?
unspoken thing.
Linebacker.
You know, he played a little bit of everything. That's what happens when you go to
We can't be
school like
too
Miami.
specific. Can't
Okay.
be too
Wait, why
specific.
can't you say his name?
Fafa, we can't say names.
Yeah, I don't know.
I did tell him, I was like,
Yeah.
you just say whatever you feel.
I'll
'Cause-
say
'cause
this.
It's
if
a
he-
compliment.
If he says
it's a very
names.
big compliment.
I don't want to see, if we were talking about Small's penis, I
Hey,
would see why you want to
if
say
I
that.
if I was baby armed
Oh,
up,
I
I
would
would
throw
want
names.
everybody to know.
I mean, I'll tell you this though: when you don't look down at someone's dick in the locker room, you know,
It's
an
understood.
unspoken thing,
Okay.
but like, there's just some things you can't miss, you know,
Yeah.
and it just is what it is. And you start thinking like, how do they tackle somebody? Because your dick would get in the way. You'd think you would take.
That's
fucking
actually
helmet, you know,
hilarious.
like,
I've never even
so
thought about that. That's how you know I have a tiny
There's
dick.
thoughts there where it's just like, wow, like how do you go on about your day-to-day life with it?
So is this like big enough to where it's a definite number one?
Oh, for sure.
So everybody knows who you're talking about that knows this guy.
Yeah, they should. If,
So-
if they don't, they've seen something I haven't seen before.
Okay, so this is bigger than you saw in the NFL.
Bigger than this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
Is it
that's-
like this?
I mean,
Are we armed up?
we're getting we're getting close there. You know.
Oh,
It's
my
bigger
God.
than that?
No, it's not. It's
I
not.
thought
Okay.
It can't
But,
be. It
I
can't
mean,
be. That's got to be a
it's,
weapon. You'd have to have a permit to carry that around.
It's nuts. I feel like it would be just a pain in the ass, though. Honestly.
Yeah,
It
it'd
gets
be a
in the
pain
way.
in somebody's ass.
Burden.
Yeah,
Hey, it'd be a big-
probably would've
That'd be a
worked.
big burden right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Just
Oh,
carrying
yeah.
that around all day.
He could helicopter for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh,
There's no doubt about it.
What kind of thickness are we working with?
Coke can?
I never got that specific with it. If it's a Coke can, Jesus Christ, I mean that might be one of one right there.
Reckon.
It would be
You
one
know?
on one.
Yeah,
Reckon.
it would have to be.
Wrong profession, honestly.
A 100%.
You could
What are
be.
you doing?
Was this a starter?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn, so this is just kind of an average Joe. Back up at
Yeah, just
Same with what?
average guy who likes to play a little bit of ball and drink a few beers.
Okay.
Damn.
I would hope that like the coach would walk by and just start me on principle.
yeah.
Just be like, "Holy fuck, yeah, you can, yeah, you can
would
come
think.
in. Yeah,
You
we
would
need you
think,
out there."
yeah.
Try to
Yeah.
dead leg somebody with that
I
thing.
feel like it would be a great imitation factor. you know?
Okay. Okay.
Like if I lined up against someone and maybe I don't know, I'd be kind of scared if I knew what someone
What
was
somebody's
packing.
packing?
You know?
That's crazy.
You can't let him around your girlfriend.
Absolutely.
You can't
not.
even let him know you have a girlfriend. You got to tell him you're well, I guess you couldn't do that either because then I could. Get
Yeah,
weird
no,
too,
it could. Yeah, it could go
That
both
could go weird.
ways. Yeah,
Okay.
it could
So
go both ways.
What about
for
in the
sure.
NFL?
yeah.
NFL?
And that name you can't say.
Well, I'll tell you this though. I would say, like honestly, probably wasn't around long enough to know. And in the NFL, instead of like your shower looking like a prison shower, you actually have personal showers, which is pretty
Really?
nice.
Fuck.
Yeah. So it's
That sucks.
That does suck.
in college. It looks like a prison.
Yeah.
You know, like
So it's everybody just naked around
everybody
each other?
is just a
Oh,
wall and
that's
everybody's
wild.
just showering. And it's fun though because you're playing like fucking stupid games and stuff. And then you know, in the NFL, it's all individual showers.
What kind of stupid
So-
games you play? Oh, this is a fun game we do with all the
Yeah,
freshmen. It's called
yeah,
"Suck Me Off" in
yeah.
the corner
It
when
wasn't
nobody else is
anything
in here.
crazy. It wasn't anything crazy. Like, you know, if you have someone on the team who you want to fuck with, everybody would just take as much soap as possible and just whip it at them.
Okay.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So
That's fun.
All
Nothing
right.
crazy, but
Super soakers?
yeah.
Just have water guns in
oh,
there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just have to learn to
Pee on
embrace
each
it.
other.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
You know, if
I-
you're trying to help someone out.
I like to piss on people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
Is that
pissing
it?
on a teammate, that could be a problem, right? 'Cause
that would start a
Oklahoma
war.
drills and
That would start a war for sure.
But if you wanted to touch a dude in the shower, that could be a good way to make him fight you. Is just to piss on them.
That would cause a
It's
war.
an incentive.
It would
Fighting in a
cause a
shower
war.
would be
You know,
horrible.
I
Yeah,
mean,
fighting in a shower.
well-
Did you ever see fights in the locker room? You don't have to say names, but that would be fun.
it was more like arguments. You know, no one ever like swung at each other.
90
It was
alphas on
more
a
like
roster. That's
it was more just yelling at each other about dumb shit, like who's a better rapper. You know, who has more drips, stupid things like that, and you can't even. I'm so white and uncultured. I couldn't even get into the argument with everybody. I couldn't pick a side because I genuinely did not know.
yeah.
You go, I think both your flows is sick nasty.
Unbelievable.
I would actually like to sign both of you. just-
100%. That's how it's going. You know.
I think both of your drip is off the his head.
Yeah. Oh my God. So, what's the process like? When did you start kicking? How old were you when you started kicking?
Did you play soccer?
Dude, I played soccer my whole life, so
course.
I didn't kick in a real game until my junior year of high school. But I do remember Christmas. I must have been 3 or 4. I got a football on a tee, and my parents let me kick it in the living room because they thought it would go on the floor, and it hit like my mom's like favorite painting on the wall.
Nice.
So I had to go outside, and I always kicked for fun. But like when you play flag football or little league football, no one's ever kicking extra points. Like, and nobody wants to do that. You want to be the
No,
quarterback or the
no,
running back,
yeah.
and you want to score touchdowns. So
Yeah.
always kicked for fun. And I grew up a big Georgia fan. So my favorite player on the team behind the quarterback was always the kicker.
Really?
I could tell you.
Unprompted? That was your
I
guy?
could tell you my favorite Georgia players growing up were David Green and Brandon Coutu. And my guess is if they heard this shout out, they'd be like, no
That's
way.
nuts.
No way they know who
They
like,
won't.
I remember me. That's fair. But it's those were the kicker outside of the quarterback was like the first player I always admired.
That's
Always
nuts.
kicked for fun, and I played soccer, and you learn pretty fast, like, okay, I'm not good enough to really take this anywhere. It's just more of a fun thing. Like, might as well try football. All my friends tried for 3, 4, 5 years to get me to play football. I always said no, and then my
You just didn't want to
dad
hit? You just didn't want
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I can't hit anybody. You know?
I get it.
to? Dude,
I mean,
hitting sucked.
Football stinks.
It does.
It's a terrible sport to play.
It is.
It's fun to talk about after you did it. It's like getting back from war.
But
But
it's great to talk about, great to watch. If I played a
Football.
real position, I would probably have a different thought process. But I did spend about 50.
Your
to
position
70
wins games, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very important.
It's very important.
You could be somebody's favorite
and-
or most hated person on the earth.
Oh yeah.
Like
Probably
with
a lot
the
of
gambling.
Oh
ladder.
yeah. I mean, it happens every time, and it happens both ways. You know, if you make a kick or miss a kick, you're gonna hear from both fans about it.
Okay, so can you talk about the game-winning kick you had? So it was with the Titans, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Well, I was on the practice squad at the time, and the way we did it here was the practice squad, kicker, punter, and long snapper. We practiced on our own, so I would zoom into all of the meetings throughout the day, and then when everybody went to offense and defensive position and unit meetings, we would go out onto the field and we would do our set of field goals, set of punts, set of kickoffs. We'd go lift, and then I would leave at like 11:30 every single day.
and everybody's there till what?
At least 5.
Dude.
oh, that's kind of
So-
No,
sick.
it
so
wasn't a
you're-
bad gig at all.
That is
I mean,
sweet.
You're
It wasn't bad at all.
and you're just stretching and bullshitting half the time, right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Dude, but like that's the best gig in the NFL. It sounds like to me.
It's great. I think the hardest part about it is like you have to know when to lock in and be on, because you don't have to be on as long as everybody else. You have so much like downtime
That'd be so
in between
scary.
meetings and stuff. It's easy to get carried away and relax. So like when you have your 5 minutes of practice to be on, it's like way tougher to lock in for those 5 minutes than it is to be like, okay, I know I've got these 2-3 hours, where I've got to perform. It is 5 minutes. It's 5 or 6 kicks, and if you miss 2, well, you're gonna hear about it for sure.
Yeah.
So what happened with the Titans game? Set it up for me.
Well, people don't even remember. I think we blew like a 17 or 20 point lead, and the Texans kicked a field goal to tie it with like 30 seconds left. So I just assumed we were going to overtime, and can't remember the rule back there, but I think we just needed 3. And I kind of remember like Wade was going. I'm like, they're probably going to win the toss and take the ball down the
Right.
field and score, and
Right.
That's how it's going to go.
Like momentum.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I wasn't really even paying attention. I forget who I was talking to, and next thing I know, Ryan Tannehill threw a bomb downfield, and they're like, field goal, and, we called a timeout, and they asked me what hash I wanted it on, and I told them the right hash, and kicked once or twice, ran out on the field, kicked it, got iced, never kicked it before I got iced ever in my life until that kick. And all I remember thinking was like, oh, shit.
So that was your first kick in a game?
No, it wasn't.
You're saying, okay.
I just had never, every time I'd been iced, like if someone calls timeout, I've never kicked that.
I see what you're saying.
I've always just played out, take time to like resettle and focus, because I kind of liked getting like iced. I thought it was.
Oh, really?
I thought it was helpful. It gives you time to just like relax, settle. I don't really think about the kick anymore.
Yeah.
That would kill
But
me.
it just gives me more time to just relax and I guess like zone in and lock in.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really minded it, but I kicked it. I don't know why. I just remember thinking, oh shit, that was good.
You made it?
I made it. I made the first one,
Okay.
and I made it a lot easier than I made the second one. And we went back out there, hit the second ball, and I thought I hit it really well, and I got what's called an S curve, and like the adrenaline was going crazy, so my ball started fading to the right really fast. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, like there's just no way. There's no way of everything that's going to happen is going to hit the right upright. And it did, and it's like time froze. I remember hearing Brett Kern say good ball.
You hear him in the helmet, or you can just hear him on
I
the
could
sideline?
hear him on the field because there was no one there. It was COVID. There
That's
was like
right. It was
15,000
COVID.
people
Really?
there, so there was like not.
Dude.
It was like, and that was the most people I played in front of that year too.
15,000? Was it in Texas or?
It was in Houston.
Okay.
It was in Houston, and it hit the upright. And I mean, I'm so short, and everybody's so tall. They're all looking. I couldn't even tell if it went in or not after it hit the upright. But I saw a couple guys on like the Texans D line just bury their head.
Yes.
in their
Let's
hands,
go.
and, a couple of the guys turned around and threw that up, and I was like, no way. I did not know how to process it. Still probably don't. Like, it did not hit me.
That's
what had
fucking
just
awesome.
happened until like 2 hours after it happened. It was nuts.
That's got to be like hitting a home run. Like,
oh
that's
yeah,
got to be
like it has to be like a walk-off home run. I feel like
Definitely.
because I don't know, I don't know what other feeling there is. And to be honest with you, that's the first and only time I've ever made a kick on the last play of the game.
Oh, that's so
I made a
sick.
bunch with like 10 seconds left or like a minute left, but like
in the NFL too.
that's
for it to be
sick.
the last play of the game is just different. It's crazy.
What was the story you were saying about the special teams thing? That
Oh yeah, so this is really cool. I didn't know anything about it. I'm sure 99.9% of people out there don't. I don't know if they do it anymore, but at least among the older generation of specialists in the league, the home team would always get a cooler of beers for the away team, which I thought was a pretty cool thing that we did. So
that's sick.
when I became a rookie and I was with the Rams, Johnny Hecker and Jake McQuaid came up to me before the first game. They said, hey, can you get a couple of drinks for the Cowboys specialist? I've reached out to them. This is what they're going to want to have. So, every week we would have a home game. I'd go to Target and get a cooler, and then I'd go to the local beer store and I'd get whatever beer that, those guys
They requested. Okay.
And, we'd give it to them. But when we would go on the road, every time in the locker of either Jake or Johnny, there'd be a cooler of beers for us on the flight home, which was just a pretty cool, like, I think, unspoken, I guess, value of respect.
Did you ever get shit-faced with the other team?
Never with the other team.
Okay.
But I will tell you, on my first away game, which I think was my second game, we beat the Eagles. We were on the flight back, and, for away games, I usually would have to get a bottle of bourbon for the specialist on the flight back. And they poured a cup, and I had to go give it to Sean McVay. And I was probably the most nervous I've ever been, because outside of when he called me to get drafted and maybe like 2 or 3 times during camp, I'd never really talked to him, and I'd never talked to him outside of like, the job of football.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and he's like,
Handsome devil.
I mean, he's, him and Les Snead are the guys, like, they make all the decisions about, what goes on. So I was terrified, but I thought it was pretty cool that.
Couldn't have a conversation with any of them.
No, there's really not much to say. It's like, here, coach, like
They're probably not big talkers either.
Oh no, well, not to me at least.
No.
No.
I mean, kickers do get shit on a lot, especially like in the media. They're on those panel shows. People, a kicker will miss a kick, and it'll be like 17 enormous guys going, "I hate kickers so much.
Dude, I mean,
I wish they didn't exist."
Yeah.
you should.
Death threats.
You could probably pull up Twitter right now, type in my name, and scroll back, and you could see some heinous things said about me
From missing
Like,
kicks.
Oh yeah, and from both ways too. And it's not even just like fans of a team. If you're on a fantasy team,
Oh, that's where people are
if
brutal.
you're on a fantasy team, or let's say like you're on somebody
I
else's
thought of that.
fantasy team and you make a kick, and they lose by 1 point or 2 points or whatever it is, it's
Fuck you. So even if you're doing good, people are like, "Fuck you."
oh yeah, yeah. And
That's hilarious.
I turned off Twitter notifications before my first game, and I honestly didn't look at social media. And then once I got cut, I was like, oh, you know what? Like I was already down.
Yeah.
At least I thought like the post would be funny, and I mean, and they were pretty funny.
Oh, I
mean,
bet there. What's the funniest one?
Oh,
What's
man,
when you
dude,
remember that like you're like
my
"Fuck."
favorite one I got is I got a DM from a guy, and it was just, hey, thought you would appreciate this, and it was just an application to be like a cook at his local McDonald's. I was like, but you see something like that, and I'm like, that's creative. That's way better than I hope you're gonna die.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
like, fuck you. Like that's not very creative.
No.
But when you get like a real application to a fast food restaurant, you can appreciate that at least if you have a good sense of humor.
I do like the creative ones. So, all right, I'm curious with a kicker. Like, so you got a scholarship to go to Miami of Ohio?
I walked on.
You walked on?
Yeah.
Okay, so once you got there, how quickly did you start? And then I don't understand what sets kickers apart. Like, how do you get drafted versus aren't there a lot of people, this is me not being a dick, I literally don't know.
No, yeah.
On like Instagram, I see somebody kick a 60-yard field goal every day, like of all different ages. And so like what sets you apart to start and then actually get drafted in the NFL?
Yeah, I think to start, at least
Huge
at Miami, I wish. I think at Miami, I went to school there because I knew I'd get a play pretty early on, and I actually didn't win the field goal job, so I did kickoffs, and I mean I was pretty bad at it. I was very
At
bad.
kickoff?
Oh yeah, I was not good at it.
Average kickoff.
My freshman year to like the 5-yard line with no hang time out of bounds.
Just
I think I was number 1 in the country in kickoffs out of bounds. Like, it's a horrendous.
You didn't get cut.
Oh, it's a horrendous stat to be
Damn,
number
that's
1
hilarious.
with,
that's
but
awesome. But hey, if they stay in, baby.
dude, that's all that matters,
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody returned a kickoff that year. I do remember Mississippi State. We played them in a bowl game, and the returner was first team All SEC, and he tripped and fell, and it looked like I tackled him. Didn't touch him at all, but I got credited with
Let's
full
go.
tackle.
You got a tackle
Big
stat?
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
all the guys were just so my dad was more excited than anybody else. I think.
I bet he
But,
was.
Got kind of lucky.
Not a pussy.
Oh yeah, that's exactly how it was. And your
Fuck
mom's
yeah.
scared to death. Are you
Yeah.
okay? Are you okay?
That's gonna make him be like, put him in at linebacker next time somebody misses a tackle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your mom runs up like, he was so big and black. I'm so glad you're okay.
Oh my god, so worried about you.
Yeah.
Do you have your phone?
The parent dynamic is crazy with that. But
You didn't have your wallet.
You don't have your wallet.
that's crazy.
Wait, okay, so what's like the most embarrassing thing that happened to you in a game?
Wait. Hold on. You never
Okay.
told me how you
Sorry,
got
sorry,
set
sorry,
apart.
sorry. My bad.
So to be honest with you,
I'm stupid.
the kid who was doing field goals, he did a pretty good job for us outside of like 1 or 2 games, but he transferred away because he was also a walk-on, and just I think out-of-state tuition was a lot for them. So he left the door open for me to kick, and I was I would say like above average to good, but not like great my sophomore and junior year. Like I'd make most of my kicks under 50 yards, but could never make like a big 50-yard kick. Missed a couple short kicks here and there, but my senior year, I just got lucky that, to be honest with you, we didn't score a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
I kicked like 30-something field goals, which
Nice.
is so rare.
Hell yeah. You
So
had a lot of
rare for
points.
college. Tons, And
Where are you? Are you in the top 10 all time at Miami of Ohio?
all time, I'm probably in the top 10, and then
Oh, sick.
we had a kicker after us. He won the Lou Groves Award, which is like the
best, yeah.
best kicker in college football, which is
Yeah.
insanely impressive.
The
So
Jim Thorpe for kicker?
basically, maybe more prestigious than the Jim Thorpe.
Because less people have won it. right?
Less people have won it for
Mhm.
sure.
Okay.
So
I didn't know about it.
when you think about statistics, less people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But when you think about the, I think more people have. I guess. Well, no, never mind. I'm gonna retract that statement. I was about to say that was
I'm
dumb.
better than Bo
Yeah,
Jackson at
yeah,
college football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
but,
Deion Sanders, actually.
I wish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If I could put up those numbers,
God damn.
it'd be unbelievable. But to be honest with you, got to kick a lot, and then
Uh-huh.
COVID hit right in the middle of all the drafting stuff. So I was one of the few guys who had a pro day. I went to a kicking combine, and I went to like the Walmart version of the Reese Seniors Bowl.
Okay.
And I did well enough there where I had like 3 really good days of film that
Is
no
that like
one
the
else
Samoan
had.
Bowl or Polynesian? or
Dude, it was
Aloha?
called the it was called the Tropical Bowl.
There it is. Yeah.
It was in Daytona Beach, which was a fun
Nice.
time. And you know, honestly, it was a great experience. It was we didn't get all the gear that everybody else gets and all the cool interview stuff, but it was fun, and I had a couple buddies down there, so that was a great time. But honestly, just had more film than other people, and you know, I think I interviewed pretty well with a few of the coaches and got along with them, and that's kind of how it happened. I didn't expect to get drafted, to be honest with you.
Where'd you get drafted?
Rams.
No, I
So-
meant what round?
Oh, seventh.
Seventh?
I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
I was pretty close to being. I was like pretty close to the last pick.
Mr. Relevant?
Sick.
When I got the call at first, I didn't know if I was getting drafted or if it was like, oh, do you want to come as a free agent? Until he said, you know, are you excited to be an LA Ram? And I was like, okay, like,
Let's
yeah,
go.
that's-
Sick.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's indescribable.
Is that
you
the
know?
proudest your dad's ever been?
No shot.
No.
Probably the tackle.
yeah.
So you said that you got interviewed. I've heard they asked some pretty wacky questions. Did they ask if you were gay? Because that's one they used to ask. And or in like some weird scenario, like how would you get out of a mason jar if you were shrunk? Did they ask you any weird ass shit?
The Wonderlick.
I wish I never had to do the Wonderlick. I'm thankful I didn't. I'm afraid to see that score, but
I don't even know what it is.
dude, they didn't ask me anything weird. It was
Really?
just like, you know, what was
You
your best
kickball.
game? What was your worst game? What can you improve on?
Kickball.
You know, things like that. I was never asked anything about, you know, if I was gay or what I would do if I was inside a mason jar.
Gotcha.
They were like, we don't need to ask.
I
He's a
don't know.
kicker.
What would you do if you were inside a mason jar, though?
I don't know. Trying to find the quickest way to kill myself.
Well, you're gonna run out of air if it's airtight. Like
Okay.
you're gonna, yeah.
I just go and start holding my breath.
You just
So-
suffocate.
Once you're in the league, what's the hierarchy of the kicking on the Rams?
Well, I had to follow Greg Zerline. Greg the
Oh,
leg.
Nice.
big
Greg the
dog.
leg.
Not an easy feat. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's still kicking right now
Yeah.
for the Jets. I mean, I feel like he's been playing forever. I remember watching him when I
20
was
years?
like middle
Forever.
school, high school. So it's pretty cool to follow him. I think I competed with 2 other guys for the job, and they both did a great job. So
No, you didn't. Fuck you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
What are their names?
Let's see. It was Liam Hadrulahu and Austin McGinnis. So Liam's from Canada, played in the CFL,
Mm-hmm.
and then Austin McGinnis played at Kentucky. He's an SEC guy.
Fuck you, Liam Austin.
I
You're
knew it was
a
going. I
pussy,
knew it was
dude.
going.
You're pussies. Of course, you said the hardest name of all time. You're like,
It's a tough
great. I
one
was
to
hoping it was
say.
going to be Tom and Jim.
Yeah. Fuck. I was waiting on that.
Yeah,
Wait.
but dude, once I got the job, when you're the starting kicker on a team, you are the only guy unless there's a practice squad kicker. But there's never 2 guys on the active roster.
Damn, that's crazy.
So it's like it's
That's
you.
nuts.
What happens if you go down during the game?
Like roll an ankle or something.
Damn, you better hope that somebody can get through.
Do they
Yeah.
know
So,
of somebody who like used to kick in high school or something that plays a different
They do.
position?
So like when I was with the Rams, like Johnny Hecker,
Yeah.
he would have kicked field goals, and I think he's kicked 1 or 2 in a game.
Okay.
You know, I know there's a lot of punters who they can get you through a game. If they
Oh,
need to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
That
like,
makes sense.
And then usually the next day they'll bring in like 3 or 4 guys. They do a workout and they'll sign 1 or 2 of them, and you know they'll just kind of go from there.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's badass, dude.
Wait.
It's
So
crazy.
wait, so you were on the Rams and then went to the Titans after that?
Yeah. So as Rams got cut, had 2 weeks of just I would say hanging around, but like I had to do a 5-day quarantine for the Titans. Did a workout here, didn't get signed. Then I went up to Green Bay, did the same thing, and on the last day of my quarantine before the workout there, I got called to come back down here. Did another 5-day quarantine, so it was, 2 weeks at that point?
Damn.
That blows.
And then I finally got to start practicing and everything again. So I was with the Titans the rest of the year after that through the playoff game. and then the next year I signed with the Steelers for camp. Got cut after like a month and a half, and then
What's that process when they cut you?
dude, the Grim Reaper just comes and grabs you.
Fuck.
You got to go see.
Do you know who it is before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you know if you
And-
see this
Is that his
particular
nickname,
guy,
the Grim
yeah.
Reaper? Is that like
oh,
a term?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Grim Reaper.
Fuck.
It's someone you never want to hear from.
That would
Yeah.
suck.
It's a pretty tough.
Did they text you or they just
They
call
wa-
you? Or
Like the Rams, I remember I kind of knew I was going to get cut. And they had told me like a week before, like, hey, you could have the greatest game in history. There's still a good chance you get cut next week, which is fine. Like,
Yeah, it lets you know at least.
kind of good to know. And I remember we played a Monday night game against the Bears, and
that's
went
sick.
in
dude.
the next day. And I'm like, damn, like this, I'm gonna get cut.
How'd you do
while
in the
I'm
game
here.
though?
I did pretty well. I got a kick block, and I did get a few kicks blocked that
Dude,
were my
that's
fault
crazy.
for sure. But that one,
Is that because you kick it too low?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I had two, kind of like the boy who cried wolf situation. I had two earlier in the year that were really low, got blocked, and should have been blocked. If they didn't block it, it's kind of on their scheme. And that one I thought I actually hit pretty well, and they kind of had a guy break through the line, and he had a good block on it. But at that point, once you've already had two low balls, you can't really be like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not my
Whoops.
fault. So, it was what it was at that point. And I remember going in the next day, and I did my workout, I did my recovery, and I met with my coach and watched the film, and I was there for like 4 hours, and I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't get cut, like survived another week. And as soon as I got home,
Dude.
I went to the bathroom to take a shit, and I get a call from a St. Louis number, and I was like, oh, my gosh, it's the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Answer, hey, who is this? And he's like, bring your iPad and your charger back.
Oh, why did they make you go home first?
They're like, Sean, Les and Sean want to talk to you. And I was like, okay, so and then it's like, wow, I got to drive 15 minutes all the way back just to get cut,
Did you
Damn.
finish your shit before you went?
At that point, I didn't even have
Yeah,
to.
I guess
it
not,
just it takes it away from you.
That
so
makes sense.
that was like the most extensive one. When I was with the Steelers, I was on and off the practice squad in 21, and it would just be like, hey, we're gonna cut you today, and we'll probably sign you back next week.
What the fuck?
Oh,
Why would
yeah.
they
Wait,
do
why do
this?
they do that? Is that just moving roster spots
So
around?
they wanted me to be there. It was still that COVID time. They wanted me to be there to kick and punt if I needed to on the weekend in case something happened to either Boswell or Presley. But during the week, they didn't really need me, and they would always sign a wide receiver during the week to fill in on special teams reps, be a wide receiver, be a DB, whatever you had
Like
to do for the
practice
scout
squad
team.
or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we would just kind of flip flop for a few weeks, and at that point, I just kind of knew like, okay, Monday morning I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna get a free lift, and they're gonna tell me that I'm getting cut.
That's
And
crazy.
then next thing I know, I'm gonna come back on Friday afternoon, and I'm gonna travel wherever we're going that weekend.
Jesus Christ.
It was pretty cool.
That's sick though that you got to just like the ins and outs of how everything
Even
works.
just to be around it is so badass.
Yeah, I mean, you never no one goes to Miami, Ohio to go to the NFL. They would probably hate it if they heard this, but I mean that's the truth. Like if I thought I didn't go there because I'm like this is going to propel me to the NFL. I went there because on my official visit, I had a blast. I went to
Yeah.
the coolest bar I ever went to. I
Aren't the
drank
Halloween
more than I ever
parties
did.
nice?
They are. I think it's bigger at Ohio. But
Ohio,
we
yeah.
do like a big green beer day. Like we're
Okay.
pretty big in the spring, and they like when you go on an official visit somewhere, and you don't have to pay for anything, and your parents are doing their own thing, and you actually get to go out with the guys. It was like the coolest thing in the world.
That's
when
sick.
you're 18, wide-eyed, like wow, this is unbelievable.
Yeah,
so
dude.
honestly, went there for that and for the education.
That's
I'm kidding.
yeah, I
on
know
that.
you are. I was about to say, hey, well, I think you already know some folks that could hook you up with some jobs if you need
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
I do want to, before we go, what was the most embarrassing thing that happened to you? It could be college, high school, NFL. What's the one where you're like, it'll keep you up, where you're like, fuck.
Oh man, dude. I don't know if anybody else knows about this, and I'll try to send you the video.
Okay.
In high school, we played a playoff game, and I went to hit a kickoff, and my foot missed on my hurdle, and I fell straight on my face, and like couldn't get up off the ground.
What?
And I don't know if anybody saw it because no one's looking at the kicker after the fact. But I just remember thinking like this is like the most embarrassing moment of my life. Because how do you fall? you're already perceived as the most unathletic person on the field.
That's true.
2, how do you fall like after the fact? You know, so.
You'd already kicked the ball?
If there's a video of it, it's fine. Oh, yeah. I kicked it, and, like, you kind of do, like, a little hurdle, and I just fell straight on my face. Just belly flopped on the ground. And I don't know. I need to try to find a video of it because it was, like, without a doubt my most embarrassing
Please
moment.
send me that.
Because,
That's
like, everybody misses a kick. It's not embarrassing
Of course,
to miss a
yeah.
kick, you know. But, like, if you do something unathletic, it's pretty embarrassing, you know. College, I slipped on a field goal. On a 53-yard field goal, and they returned it, and then I got trucked. That's a great video.
There's a video of that, too?
Oh, yeah, I'll send it to you. That's a good video. I slipped on a kick, and they had a dude back there, and he went and caught it, and he went to return it, and, I mean, I got lit up.
Oh, my God.
Like, lit up to the point where I felt it the next day. It was just kind of rare,
Yeah.
you know, but.
Did it feel cool, though? Were you like,
Yeah,
hell
I felt pretty sick, but then
I
we
bet
got
you did.
a re-kick after that because they had some penalty, and then I missed it, and I didn't feel nearly as cool after that, you know.
Dude,
But-
that's got to be the most nerve-wracking shit of all time.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking when they're running at you.
Fuck.
When you ever return a running at you, it's pretty. I don't know. I'm like,
What are your
"Ah,
thoughts?"
This isn't fun.
What are your thoughts when you just see somebody just full speed ahead?
You're going to die.
I just pray to I pray to God that someone else tackles them before they get to me. You know.
How many times did you tackle somebody out of bounds?
Like 4 or 5. You know.
Hell yeah. dog.
Usually tried to not. You know. I feel like probably not the greatest thing. I kicked a lot of touchbacks. I kicked a lot of footballs out of bounds. So it takes away a lot of return opportunities.
That's
though,
true.
You know. So. My first time on ESPN, Marshall returned 2 kickoffs for a touchdown against me my sophomore year.
Brutal.
And yeah, that was my first time on there.
Oh, my
Which is
God.
pretty
So you
cool.
get to watch at home after the game
Yeah,
on
like
ESPN?
the next morning when you're watching ESPN and like, you know, college football replay or whatever. Oh yeah. They're like, oh, helmet sticker, top 10, everything. The whole.
Dude,
the
I
whole
can't watch
ordeal.
if my team loses, much less if I was.
The
You said
reason.
you're an Auburn fan though, right?
Yeah.
So you're not watching very much. Are
Yeah,
you?
Yeah.
He's, no. He's not. I don't have a feeling Tennessee will be either.
Yeah,
next
that's
year.
fair. After what happened with that.
Fuck. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on so
Hey,
much.
thanks
Yes,
for having me.
sir.
This was a blast.
You're the
guys.
man.
That was a
Appreciate
blast.
y'all. Thank you.
We love you.
Hell yeah. See you next week.
We'll see you next week, everybody. Meow.
Hell yeah, dude.
Meowing's the new class.